Welcome back to Haunted Road Trips, where we are taking a trip across the country to find the most haunted places in your state and in mine. Today we are looking at the state of Arkansas. This is 5 of the most haunted places in Arkansas. Let's go. Our first stop on our haunted road trip is the Arlington Hotel Resort, located in downtown Hot Springs, Arkansas. Originally opened in 1875, the Arlington Hotel has housed many movie stars, presidents, and even gangsters. Al Capone was even believed to frequent the hotel, which made the most popular room in the entire hotel to be named the Al Capone Suite. Al Capone was a believer of the hot springs' supposedly healing waters. He was reported to have spent weeks at a time in room 443 for its close proximity to the hotel's bathhouse, as well as the fact that it offered a full view of the Southern Club located right across the street. The club was a gambling and entertainment joint that Al Capone frequently visited when in town. His room was also retrofitted with a closet that led to a secret getaway. The passageway was said to have been commissioned by Al Capone to aid his escape in the event of an emergency such as a shootout. It has since been boarded up to prevent access by guests of the room. Many guests in the recent century have claimed to have paranormal encounters while staying the night here, although staff firmly believe and tell guests that there are no ghosts in the building. Some of the paranormal activity include bottles of wine that jump off the shelves without being touched. There have been reports of apparitions in old-fashioned clothing wandering the halls and the lobby before simply vanishing. The ghost of a young girl in a pink dress has been seen in the lobby. The ghost of a woman in a wedding gown has been seen staring down into the street late at night. The ghost of a bellman has been seen wandering the 4th floor. People say they see him walk through closed doors before disappearing. The ghost of a man in a black suit has been seen in the hotel laundry and often waves to the workers. Water taps turn on and off by themselves. Lights go on and off when no one is around. People are brushed against things that aren't even there, and ghostly laughter has been heard. An evil presence has reportedly been felt in room 824, and it has been claimed that room 666 was deliberately renamed to room 667, as guests have reported numerous strange activities in the room. The piano, which was in the lobby bar, is also said to play by itself after midnight, so it has since been removed to avoid causing any unnecessary hysteria. Here is a story from a user named Kelly C., who was a guest at the hotel, and she said, "A friend and I stayed on the 4th floor at the Al Capone Suite. Sometime after 10 p.m., I'd gotten up to get a soda from the vending machine at the end of the hallway for my friend. She was a bit jumpy, so I went instead. Halfway there, I tripped over a discarded shoe, the other near the room door. A woman dressed in what only could be described as a maid's uniform came out of the room and asked if I was hurt. I smiled and replied I'm clumsy. She smiled back, then walked into a small room filled with sheets and pillows. As I passed by, she was gone. Door open, keys in the lock. A man hurried up the hallway and looked surprised. He asked if I was lost, and I just told him I was getting a soda, then headed into the vending area, but not before looking back in time to see him jerk the keys out, look around, jamming the keys in his pocket, then almost run the opposite way. The next day I talked to a manager, and he denied it at first. However, that changed when I told him if I didn't see a ghost housekeep, there would be no reason to book another week. He was just worried I was scared and give the Arlington a bad reputation." Our second stop on our haunted road trip is Keller's Chapel and Cemetery, located in Jonesboro, Arkansas. It was originally established around the 1850s and has many graves for soldiers of the Civil War. Some of the paranormal occurrences at this location are ghostly lights that follow visitors around the cemetery at night, the sounds of babies crying, strange apparitions moving around the cemetery, and unexplained noises. Some even say if you park your car in front of the chapel, when you go to leave, your car will refuse to start. Here's a story from an anonymous user, and they said, "As a teenager, my friends and I liked to play hide and seek in the graveyards, especially around Halloween. When I was 19, Some friends and I were playing in Keller's Chapel graveyard. We kept hearing sounds as if someone was murdering animals in the woods. We also saw what looked like fireballs in the distance. As we went to leave, we decided to knock on the chapel door. We knocked and nothing happened, so we knocked again. Nothing happened. The third time we banged on the door really hard and something banged really hard back. As we ran away, the chapel door flung open, but nothing was there. We got in our vehicle to leave and it would not start. But finally, after about the third try, the truck finally started and off we went. I have never been back since. Our third stop on our haunted road trip is the Empress of Little Rock Bed and Breakfast, located in Little Rock, Arkansas. Originally built in 1888, the whole house has been renovated to be a very attractive place to stay for tourists in the area. However, some of its guests have reported some very strange encounters. The ghost of a well-dressed man has been seen on the stairs and in other rooms of the historic home. The ghost of a large woman dressed in pink stands outside guest rooms. The apparition of an old sea captain has been seen in other guest rooms, and an African-American maid haunts the maid's closet. Phantom footsteps have been heard, disembodied voices are the norm, and doors open and close by themselves. Here's a story from a user named Shannon, and she said, "My mother and I spent 2 nights here in 2015. It was so hot in July. I felt a strange presence in the parking lot and hallway upstairs the first night, but didn't see anything. One morning I went into the attic to see the gambling table, but when I opened the door to enter the attic, something inside came flying at me and I slammed the door. It was really hot." A few minutes later, my mother went into the attic with no problem and looked all around. When she came down, she explained about the table and the lookout she saw. Then she realized it was very cool in the attic and not at all hot. It was over 100 degrees out, and there's no air conditioning in the attic. That is when my mother realized that a spirit must have been in there and caused the cool, comfortable temperature. She was not believing any of my odd feelings or the ghost stories until she realized how odd it was to have been cool in the attic. It was a really neat experience, and I can't wait to bring my husband to the inn. Our next stop on our haunted road trip is the Crosset Railroad tracks between Ashley and Clark County, where the old railroad tracks once laid. An unexplained light has reportedly been constantly seen since the early 1900s by many people. The light, nicknamed the Gordon Ghost Light, is typically seen floating 2 or 3 feet above the ground, but also is said to move into the treetops and sometimes side to side. The light reportedly disappears as one walks towards it and then reappears the same distance away, so that one can never get a close look at it. The Crosset's light color reportedly changes from yellow or orange to blue or green. Local legend said that in 1931, a railroad worker, William McLean, was slain along the same stretch of railroad tracks. After his death, the ghost light began appearing. The story became so well known that in October 1994, NBC's Unsolved Mysteries television show traveled to the Gordon area for an investigation and to film a recreation of the 1931 murder. Here's a story from a user named Eli who visited the tracks, and they said, "Live about 4 miles from here and go almost every weekend. Have seen my fair share of shadow figures and weird orbs. One was green. Also saw a ghost car out here. Tried following it and it disappeared. There's another entity similar to the light now, and they seem to be fighting against each other as well. Specifically one night, we saw angel figures following a group of people that were walking, along with a large bright white anomaly moving in the woods next to us. That same night, we saw a still light in the woods that looked like someone, specifically a woman, was blocking it." Our last stop on our haunted road trip is the Wolf Bayou Bridge, located in North Little Rock, Arkansas, on Old Highway 30. The bridge was replaced in 2005, but it was the old one from which the local legends arose. People say that a woman and her newborn baby died here when she drove off the bridge. Rumor has it that those who go out there at night and shout, "Mama Lou, I've got your baby," will have trouble with their car, causing it to stall and not start. And on certain nights, you might see a floating woman in white near the bridge. Here is a story by a user named Brandy, and she said, "When I was younger, my mom loaded us all up in the car and took us to this place. My mom and dad took my doll and were shouting, 'Mama Lou, I've got your baby.' There was the sound of someone walking through the water and climbing out onto the bank. My dad threw my doll into the water and both of my parents ran for the car. My mother started the car and started to pull off. Me and my brother were in the hatchback of the Gremlin. We heard somebody hit the glass. When we pulled into the gas station after fleeing, there was a bony handprint on the back glass, right where me and my brother were sitting." But now I want to know what you guys think. Which of these places do you think is the creepiest? Have you ever visited any of these places? If so, what are your experiences? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like. And maybe even subscribe for more great content. We do all the research so you don't have to. And as always, I'm Alex. And I hope you have a fantastic day.
This is the end, and good riddance. It's evident that the minutes of rap is too high of a significance for me to handle, so I'm flying off of it. Spraying bullets with my pen at anyone who is standing opposite. All these rappers talking fake shit nowadays. If it's not about fucking a girl or going to a rave, then there ain't no bars. I don't do no Drake shit, that's why I'll never make it that far. But I gotta say some shit before I get in the car.